What is up, everybody? Welcome to another YouTube video. Today's another special video where we have Captain Smiley returning. And we're going to talk about the confirmed 222 meta, which we talked about in the last video, and we're going to go in depth on a couple more things that we didn't talk about before. Without further ado, go ahead and hop into it.
So what I was mainly talking about was that Reaper's pretty broken in lower ranks, and some of the biggest things that counter it are like Brigands and Yada. They can shut them down and help your team focus them down. And in role lock, if I were to pick a DPS, I can't really go and switch to those healers. And if my healers aren't being cooperative,
That definitely makes sense. You can't swap outside your role, therefore you can't really counter the Reaper yourself. You have to rely more on your team to counter certain comps.
yeah, and I really feel like Reaper is pretty overpowered and doesn't really have any real counters. Dog again, or just its abilities, like the fundamentals of the character, does not counter Reaper. In like a matchup like Genji and Widow, Genji is mobile with dash, double jump, wall climb. That like to his core counters a Widowmaker. A Widowmaker can still outplay him, but
Yeah.
Genji counters Widowmaker. But Reaper just doesn't really have any counters. Like Diva can defense matrix him, Roadhog can hook him and one shot him. Doesn't Wraith, and there's Flashbang with McCree, but those are more just abilities that can, but they don't really counter him.
Like I said, it's more of a counterplay type style where you like that's what counterplay technically would be in the higher ranks, especially against Reaper, is that you're supposed to hang on to those abilities until you see that he's burned Wraith, then you know you have like a 9-second gap to actually CC stun lock him and kill him.
Yeah.
It's just making him bait out the Wraith form. Once you do that, the fight's not that bad. It can still be rough, but if you can land your CC from there, it's pretty easy to get him down.
Yeah. And I think we're pretty much done visiting that because it's not a super long subject. But I feel like Reaper's gonna be need because he's too broken in lower levels, and he's already kind of useless in high level.
Yeah, it's just where people can't hit him with abilities and with aim and that.
Yeah, and then I think one of the other biggest, like that's definitely like a huge problem, especially in low ranks. But to segue into something else is that they were talking about how long queue times would be with
Hmm.
different roles. They didn't say it was a super official number at all, but while things like tanks and healers queue time would go down, the average queue time being like around 5 minutes,
Hmm.
DPS queue time would go up, they said, around like 20 minutes. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that they can actually fix on their end though, because there's nothing that they can really do to, segregate you into a match if everybody's locking DPS. There's
Yeah,
no
there's no really workaround for it, at least that I can see.
the only workaround would be something like what League does, where you have autofill and you have the ability to pick what roles you want to play. Like you'll pick a primary role, a secondary role, and then the game just autofills you if both of those roles are met and you're not eligible for, being able to keep those roles.
I
You'll
feel like
auto
if it had that secondary rule system, it would have to split the roles into being stuff like main tank, off tank, main healers, and everything like that.
I don't think you'd have to get that advanced. You could definitely still do tank though in DPS. I mean, people would have to learn how to play the game, and that's what the role queue is basically, is making people learn how to play the game. I mean, no, people may not like that, but that's something you should have in your repertoire. You should be able to play at least to a competent level, the other heroes. Like it sucks hearing that, but that's how I truthfully think the game should be played, considering that it is a game of counters.
Yeah. I think I mean, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's just kind of a concept. If you could, like, a character pool of like 3 to 5 characters, and those are what you play, and you can go into comp and only be able to play those 5 characters.
I mean,
Obviously, it could be a wider range, and it's not expected to be super viable, but I mean, it's a concept.
yeah, I mean, you should definitely have an understanding of more than like one character. Honestly, I think you're better off learning at least a couple characters in each role. Like, you can learn tank, off tank, healer, DPS. Like 5 characters technically, and you would be fine as long as you're at least competently able to play them and you're not just running in and dying. And it's not like the characters' kits are super highly advanced.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a high skill ceiling with some of them, but the abilities themselves don't take a lot of mechanical skill to actually set up.
And something that I believe, I don't remember who did it, but they had posted it on the forums. It was somebody from Blizzard that's pretty well known. How if they did add roll lock, they would have separate SRs. If they did ever add roll lock, which is confirmed.
Yeah, that's something that League also implements now. At least they tried to. So that way you're not being matched up. Like, let's say you get auto-filled for tank, you wouldn't be matched up with like your platinum DPS if you're platinum on
Yeah,
DPS. I think that's a good way to go about it too. So then you're playing with people that are learning the same concept as you.
yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a little weird because I have multiple accounts for each different like role, and now I can just do that concept on each account.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to worry about it as much because you'd only get ranked based on your current position, whatever you were playing at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets rid of the smurf. It kind of kills smurfing a little bit, potentially.
Did you see how it was announced? I didn't think we talked about that.
What was it you kind of cut out?
Did you see how Rollock was announced?
Yeah, it was through a
I don't
leak,
think we
wasn't it?
talked about that. Yeah, the pro player Fissure, the main tank for Soul Dynasty, had retired basically.
Yeah.
And because he was retired and the pros get access to this information way before, it basically just said that Rollock is coming to the game. I think at stage 4 of Overwatch League.
Yep. That's what he was talking about. It's kind of crazy that he was able to actually leak that and not get into any trouble. I get that he's not a pro player anymore, but you think that they would have to sign some type of confidentiality to where they can't leak things like that?
I mean, I think there is some trouble surfacing. I just don't think they acted upon it super right away. I might be wrong on that though.
I would imagine he can't get away. That would be like, some big game company tournament, well, game tournament like, League of Legends announcing something to the pro scene, like certain characters are getting buffed, nerfed, and then somebody leaving and then spreading word about it, or you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just you shouldn't be able to do that. That's breaking confidentiality and it's just not good for the game.
With the buffs and nerfs of characters, I think the only ones we talked about was Reaper, Reinhardt, and Brigitte, if I'm correct. It was only those guys.
Believe so. What are some
Who
of
else?
the current changes? Do you know offhand?
Current changes. I know that McCree got buffed.
That's actually a really big buff for him too. If it still stands to what it was, I do remember hearing about that. They reduced the amount of time it takes in between shots.
Oh yeah, it's like amazing. Like I used to not be able to play McCree
Hmm.
because the recoil would kind of throw me off of it, but I can play him pretty decently now.
Yeah.
And then Orisa got a quality of life buff. Place her
Is-
shield while reloading.
See, that's big, but at the same time, Zenyatta needs that ability with Discord orbs. I think that would help
Yeah.
him a lot too.
And then Torbjorn did get nerfed because they felt that he was too overpowered in the lower ranks, so they made it that a shotgun does less damage.
Oh yeah.
Symmetra got a quality of life buff where you can go through the teleporter without having to be as close to it now.
Not
I
that
think it was
bad.
only by like a very minuscule amount though.
Point 0.5. I'm looking at the patch notes now. I just pulled them up.
Okay, good, because those are like the only ones I remember.
Yeah, it's like point 0.5. I don't think that that's that big of a buff, to be honest, but we'll see how it pans out. I mean, I guess if you're a little closer, it gives you that much more time to teleport out. Oh yeah, Diva got nerfed too. They reduced her
Yeah, the
defense
Diva
matrix
one was rough.
difference.
Think other characters that are gonna be nerfed is I think Orisa.
We'll
I mean, it's not
see.
primarily her fault that Bunker is like super meta. It's like mainly Bastion, but I could see them nerfing it in that way.
Maybe, but with the buffs that they just gave her, I can't see them buffing her like that and then immediately turning around and just, crapping on her. Like, we buffed your
Well,
barrier, you can reload now, and then turning around and just killing her.
and it was a quality of life buff, so it's something that really should have been in the game from the beginning, not like a damage or health buff.
I agree, and like I said, Zenyatta needs that, and a lot of characters that have on-target abilities like that need that in their kit to where they can use their on-target abilities while, reloading.
I think we
It's
had talked about how Bastion's Ironclad needs to go so that it's much easier to break through Bunker.
I think that would that would right there would fix bunker comp 100% because then you could tracer pulse bomb him, you could grab or Death Blossom, whatever you wanted to do, you could kill him a lot easier. I do think that Ironclad will end up getting hit again and it will be removed.
And
They'll
it's odd to see them for major buffs, but with the Orisa buff and then Baptiste got a small buff, I think was a little weird.
Well, to be fair, Baptiste got broken. Did you hear that his alt didn't work?
Yeah,
Okay,
with the healing,
yeah.
but they are fixing that though.
Yeah, I think they already fixed it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I hope that it's that they're buffing some of the characters, but then they are gonna nerf Bastion in the end and things like that.
Yeah, they gave Baptiste an extra 2 bullets too to his biotic launcher, which I think is huge because it felt really weird. Like if you hit L2 and R2 at the same time to use both, it felt really weird that you would run out of ammo a lot faster in the healing and then it would start your reload for you on both sides.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad to see some fit into Rollock Go, like triple DPS Hammond. I actually thought was very fun, being either because I flex to the healers, I can play Hammond or the DPS, and I thought it was fun from all sides.
Yeah.
I think it's still gonna be played in a similar way, but I feel like people are gonna throw Diva into the mix if they still want to play a similar comp to that, because Hammond and Diva works out rather well actually.
It'll be interesting to see what all or where all the cards lie after the patch because how long is Overwatch or League season? Do you know? How many weeks?
Uh, I I don't exactly know. I might be able to look it up.
If you want to do that while we talk.
Yeah.
Kind of curious what it is. Because that's a decent amount of time, I would imagine, until the next the next big patch for the Rollock comes out, where we're dealing with all this. So by then, I'm sure they will have addressed some of the issues. I can't see them, walking into bunker comp, not touching it at all beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I can't seem to find anything on it. I feel like I should know what it is, but age I think is like every like maybe month or two. I could be very wrong on that though.
So stage 4 starts July 25th through August 25th. So yeah, it's a monthly basis. So about 23 days from now, we should be getting the Rollock.
Yeah, and then how do you feel about the McCree buffs? I know you haven't played it in a bit, so you haven't really been begin to experience it, but it's still pretty similar from what we saw in PTR. And you said you saw that.
Yeah. Speaking about McCree buffs, like I'll be playing Overwatch throughout the week because I won't be home again, so I'll be able to play a lot more. I got it updated
Mm,
now. Probably be streaming some
Grim
Overwatch.
question mark?
We'll have to see what's going on, but I wouldn't mind trying it if we can get enough people.
Yeah, that'd be
Oh.
really fun.
The McCree buffs I think are massive because that was kind of a problem I had with McCree is that I wonder can you flashbang and get 2 headshots on a target?
Oh, easily. I mean, you used to be able to do that, but like super easy to do that
Eh,
now.
like it was really hard on certain characters to get a double headshot off a stun because the
Yeah.
way the animation the head hitbox moves when you hit him with a stun because I think Anna especially I think she like puts her head down
Mm,
you can't hit it like it's really annoying but that's a thing where McCree can actually fire 2 headshots and fan the hammer I don't even think is a thing anymore because
yeah.
why fan the hammer when you can literally hit 2 times for 300 damage.
And that's what a lot of people talked about is that like his primary fire is essentially better than Fan the Hammer at this point.
Yeah, like McCree's kit as a whole is just one of those weird wonky kits. Like his alt's not good. It will never be good. Even with Baptiste, I don't think his alt will ever be good.
It's definitely gone into a different turn because it used to always be like flank high noons.
Yeah.
Just do it like right behind the shield while in front of the enemy one.
Yeah, and then people
Right
started
up in
using
each
it.
other's faces.
Okay, yeah, but then people started using it just to reload his gun because it just wasn't worth the value.
I mean, I don't know if his do you think his ultimate would or should it all be reworked?
I truthfully believe it should be reworked because, like I said, it's just not a fun alt, nor is it very good. It's one of those alts that it feels terrible to lose to because it takes so much setup for the McCree, but when you hit it, it just doesn't. It still doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a
I feel
weird.
like it does have opportunities to be good. Like if there's like a Mercy ulting and you know she's gonna be right there in the air.
Yeah, it requires a lot more than just the McCree in order for it to be a successful high noon. Like there's a lot of gimmicks and a lot of setup that go into it, whereas some other heroes like Zarya just pushes triangle and just L2s you to death. Or Tracer just throws a pulse bomb on you with no setup and the person's probably dead. Reaper's Death Blossom, like there's so many more ultimates in the game that are just so much better overall. I think McCree actually has the worst ultimate in the game.
I feel like Sombra might be getting nerfed.
She's definitely gonna get nerfed. There's no way that she doesn't get hit because her hack and like the infinite stealth that they gave her was a little bit ridiculous. I was okay with the translocator changes just because that made more sense to give it an infinite timer than what was it, like the 9 seconds you had originally or whatever it was, or 13.
I think it was like 15 or something like that.
Yeah, it was something long, but the translocator changes I'm fine with. The infinite stealth needs to go.
Did listed more as a bug fix maybe, but they did buff her translocator.
Did they?
It acts as a cleansing ability, so if you're getting burned, discorded, anything like that, as
Oh
soon
yeah.
as you
Yeah,
go
it's
through
like
it, it cleanses that.
May ice block now.
All Yeah, and it does that with all damage over time. So like shoots you and you teleport away before all the damage over time, like it won't go through.
That shouldn't cleanse. I don't think that should cleanse. I think that's a little bit broken, but
It also
because
cleanses stuff like anti-grenade, obviously, that among everything else.
yeah, like the problem with that is like if she gets hit by something like that in the middle of a team fight, just throw down a translocator on top of yourself, which if you haven't already put it up against a wall like you should have to begin with, but you could use it in a quick situation if you're trying to hug the payload after you get hard CC'd, you can just pop it and go.
Yeah. And I saw this situation on a streamer called Fitzy here, but they had showed that with Roadhog when he's hooking somebody, like as even though like with the hook, if
Uh,
you hack Roadhog, it just cancels it.
yep.
Used to be really inconsistent, where sometimes it would go through and other times it wouldn't.
Roadhog has a lot of issues right now, and his hook has been a problem for a while for him. I don't know if at this point it would just be better to rework that ability and just get rid of it and give him something else, especially with Rollock coming, and he's already going to be in a really bad position with Rollock. Sorry. I don't know. His hook has so many problems. Like Lunar Colony, you can actually hook them off the first point, like through the window, and even if you don't break LOS, it won't pull the target to you. I've had it happen multiple times. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I do feel like he might not even be getting like any kind of buff or nerfs. I think
He
right now Orisa Roadhog is kind of the meta,
Yeah.
and it actually has worked out super good, especially if you can get that like pull hook combo.
Yeah. It's usually what you would do is you just have her use halt and then hook the halt target.
And honestly, like a lot of people have talked about it, like has been in probably like the best spot he's been in time.
I don't agree with that. I think Roadhog was in a lot better spot before they did Hook 2.0. I definitely think Roadhog was way better with Hook 1.0, but Hook 1.0 was just disgusting. You could translocate a Sombra and it would still pull you all the way back across the map.
So, what do you think are going to be like? Obviously, the most played characters in each role. Obviously, like Roadhog and Ursa and Dive is going to be a thing.
Yeah, I could see Dive coming back. You could have Winston Diva comps return. Even with Diva getting her Matrix nerf, while it is a 5 range difference, I still see it being a
Yeah.
thing because I mean you're going to be right on the Winston anyway, so it doesn't even affect Dive to that degree.
And that's like on higher ladder. That's what people do. Like for example, like bunker set up on high ground on defense. Like you'll have the Sombra go over EMP, and then you have like a Nano Blade with defense matrix and the Winston bubble there with you.
Yep.
Go with the Genji at that point, and it just breaks down bunker completely.
Yeah, like I said, there are ways to counter bunker. That's what the whole point is that there is still things to counter. I will get hit though, I believe. Like you said, I don't see them not doing something before Rollock comes out in 3 weeks or whatever it is. Yeah, about three
Yeah.
weeks. To maybe make it a little bit softer for a transitional counter.
Yeah. I feel like bunker, like similar to the Reaper case, is just ladder because like on high ladder, like upon like an EMP, whereas the team might not understand that they're supposed to follow up with it. Really,
Yeah.
plenty of good opportunities in Plat. Like had a bomb and she could have easily killed like a couple people, and she just didn't do it.
Yeah, that's just game recognition though. That
It
comes with time.
obviously is like a really dumb comp and hard to break through, but in higher ladder, it's obviously a lot easier. Lower ladder that's going to suffer from all of these different comps.
Yeah. like the same. That's another weird thing about this game is that the comps that are played in lower level aren't the same ones that are played in upper level, so it's hard to determine what's really broken. And I think Blizzard has already said that they're gonna balance down to the lowest rather than the highest.
Yeah. Do you think Hammond will get hit at all? Because honestly, I think he's in a really good place right now and is like super effective.
I can't see Hammond really getting hit at all. I mean, his kit's good, but there is a lot of things that counter his kit. And if we're going towards a dive meta with, like, say, Doomfist or any number of things like that,
We think he needs some bug fixes because sometimes like you will grapple something and it will just detach for no reason.
yeah, there's a lot of bug fixes that need to be implemented in this game, though. Hammond's not the only one that has problems. Doomfist still has the slider where you punch somebody and they slide down the wall. What else is there? Like I said, Roadhog
You
still has the
know,
problem with his hook.
like especially annoying. Like there's been so many instances where on like defense of Volskaya on the second point where I switched to Hammond to try to stall,
Hmm.
can't grapple the ring in the middle. Like it'll attach and then just instantly detach, and then I'm dead.
Yeah, they like I said they need to fix his grapple. That's 100%. I agree. Like I have trouble with the payload, grappling the payload. Sometimes I can get a solid grapple on it, and then other times it just won't grapple. It acts like it's just not there.
Sometimes I wonder if it's like objects in the map specifically that it has that encounter with, because
It's
it only seems to be few parts of like the actual map that it ever has that kind of reaction.
it's collision with the grapple box. It's just not connecting, not hitting it, or if it does hit, I would have to imagine it has something to do with the hitbox on the grapple, though.
You
I think
seen the new Zenyatta skin?
no, I haven't.
You know what it's about?
No, what's the theme?
Basically, year of Overwatch League. I would hope you would know this player, Jonak.
Yeah, I've heard of Jonak.
Basically, like one of the best Zenyatas in the world because he was the MVP. Sorry,
EMP.
season.
Yeah.
Flashbacks, all the dumb EMPs. But he was MVP of last season with Overwatch League, so they gave him a specific skin, and that would be like $10 if you're paying for it.
Hmm.
Cool, because Jonak is Korean for stumbling octopus. All of his usernames have something to do with octopi.
Hmm.
And his octopi themed, like the orbs are just tiny little octopus, like attached to like a ball.
Interesting.
Colors. It has the color scheme of the New York Excelsior
That's
favorite team colors.
kind of interesting considering they have a Cthulhu skin that I think would also kind of be similar, wouldn't it, in a sense?
Yeah, you'll have to look it up though, because it is like pretty different. But there's been some issues. I've seen people complain about it a bit because it makes the head hitbox. I don't know if it's
Uh,
bigger or just more obvious.
I don't think it would make a difference for the actual hitbox. The model would still be the same. The skin would change, though. It's the same problem that I have with Pharah with her freaking jetpack. Like, that's should be a hittable thing, and it's not.
And I assume that it just like because of how it was designed, it just made where the hitbox was more obvious.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's not like a super major problem. Like I wouldn't see them fixing the skin for that. Like if you put on the skin,
oh, I see what it is now. Yeah.
I think it's really cool, and I'm excited to see if they do that for every season.
Yeah, it's because of how I think I see what the complaints are would be about. Because of how the glass dome fits around his head.
Most of the complaints I've heard it's because it hitbox related. I don't know if it's necessarily that it makes it more obvious for them to hit, or if the glass thing like extends where it's supposed to be and they shoot it and nothing happens.
That's probably what it is. You have to treat it like you have to aim basically for the purple squid inside the glass. You can't aim for the top of the glass.
It's pretty cool though that they did that for that player, and there was like a really cool video of the artists showing the pro player and seeing his reaction.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Uh, don't think so. Not for Overwatch anyway. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the discussion down below. I'd like to thank Captain Smiley for being the co-host on today's show. I'm sure he'll be around for more Overwatch videos in the future if you enjoyed it. Be on the lookout for more of these. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Catch you guys later.